So the story tonight is this. In the first 5 months of this calendar year, while the overall TV category in the consumer products market grew by 13% year on year, TV sets that are 65 inches and above, grew by 37%. And these big screens now contribute 12% of the overall TV market in the country, compared to 5% in pre-COVID times. So it is a substantial jump. And as per this data that we are poring over in a research report put out by GfK, now imagine this television set that is more expensive than a BMW or an Audi, a premium car. Actually, LG's rollable TV is actually that television that we are talking about. The price tag is 75 lakh rupees. It's a smart TV, it's costlier than several luxury cars. So it begs the question, what are the reasons for this fascination that India seems to have with Bada hai to Behtar hai? And does it really match the economies of the market? Our guests tonight represent both the manufacturing and the consumption part of the business. But before I introduce you to them, here's what my colleague Sameer Dikshit came away with from this visit he made to one of the local electronics shops in the national capital.
When it comes to the TV screen size, Bada hai to Behtar hai, this philosophy is dominating the TV sales trend in the country. If we go by numbers, in the initial 5 months of this calendar year, the overall TV sales grew by around 30%, but the large size TV, which is 65 inch and above, it grew by more than 37%. The consumers are willing to pay hefty amount, even up to rupees 75 lakh for buying these large size TV. But what is the trend and what has actually the new buying pattern which is emerging in India? The experts suggest that post-COVID, there is a very interesting trend that has came up, that is setting up a theater-like experience in home and enjoying your watching movie or even watching cricket matches. Secondly, the entry of affordable brands in the TV industry that has also pushed the TV sales of large size TV in the country. And not just this, there is another interesting trend that has come up, and that is to improve the CIBIL score. It has also been seen that people, they usually buy large size TV and then they pay regular installment, and that helps them to improve their CIBIL score. So these are a couple of factors which is actually driving the sales of large size TV. That means 65 inch and above TV in the country. And going by the trend, the expert also suggests that seeking the upcoming festive season or even the Cricket World Cup that is to be there in the second half of this year, that will further drive the sales of these TV in the country.
So there are multiple reasons to buy more of these large TVs, like Sameer discovered. But now, to break down this kind of trend that's building up, this fascination for large TV sets in India, let's talk to our guests on India Development Debate tonight. Founder and chair of VU Televisions, Devita Saraf, joining us, along with Ranjit Babu, who is the director of wireless and TV at Amazon India. Good evening and welcome both. Devita, you know, this growth of the market obviously says a lot about the growing buying power of consumers in India. And these TV sets, they're priced anywhere, like I was telling our viewers, between 3 to 4 lakhs. And the truly large screens, they come with cutting-edge technology and with a price tag as big as 75 lakh rupees as well. You tell us, at VU Televisions, you're in the business of making and selling these large-size 4K TVs yourself. How much growth in your market have you seen post the peak of the pandemic? And if it has grown, as this report also suggests, then the obvious question is why? What do you put it down to?
Thanks, Vikram, for having me on the show. As you know, that as a brand, we've been focused on large size and high-end TVs for a very long time now. We're the first ones to launch a 100-inch TV many years ago at 20 lakhs. And that time it was considered a product that very select few would own and show off. What we found now is that more and more people are willing to spend easily the upwards of 2 lakhs or 5 lakhs on a high-end TV for multiple reasons. The first one is that we find that audience has shifted from going to movie theaters and cinemas to watching OTT content on a regular basis, but still wanting that kind of picture quality and experience that they're getting in the cinema on their televisions. And they're willing to pay for bigger TVs and better technology. The second thing that we found as a trend is people spent a lot of time at home in COVID, and they realized that home entertainment is an area to spend on. And a lot of old technology like projectors and all are on their way out. So people are bringing in the home theater experience into their living rooms in their homes, which has increased the budget that people want to spend on home entertainment and a sort of at-home lifestyle. Also, the real estate boom that we've seen in the market in India, people do have a very big budget for electronics these days. And the crown jewel of the electronic industry is always televisions. So people today, it's not very uncommon for someone to have a high-end TV in their house. In fact, for us as a company, more than 80% of our revenue comes from 50-inch and above TVs. And of course, most of our business, almost 100%, comes from 4K TVs. Interestingly, we launched a QLED TV last year, and there itself we found we sold nearly 25,000 TVs, which are above the 1.5 lakh rupees as an ASP. Because people just don't bat an eyelid these days when it comes to really high-end expensive TVs. They just find it the new normal.
Which is exactly what I'm saying, that it is becoming the new normal for people to spend that kind of money on television sets. And they're spending much more on it than they ever did. That's one part of the story, but also much more than they would probably spend on a car. So one of the reasons that Devita pointed out, Ranjit, is that people want to recreate what they're missing out on, because the pandemic taught us to live without our cinema halls, and perhaps now they want to recreate that atmosphere at home. At one time, we used to do it with projectors, and that used to be much cheaper, but now we are doing it with these television sets. They are large in size, but what are the reasons that you're tracking? Because coming from Amazon, you're obviously understanding the importance of the kind of content that is available to be seen and enjoyed and be entertained with on our TV sets. How much does that have to do with what buying decisions these consumers are making when it comes to TV sets?
First up, thank you for having us over, Vikram.
Yes.
Devita spoke about getting your theater to the home.
Yes.
Content is one part of it. There is also increasing broadband penetration and the 5G rollout. India has the fastest 5G rollout in the world. It is so much more easier to watch 4K content in your house today. And it's so much more easier. I think that's a huge part of what is driving this kind of growth in large screen sizes. It's so much more easier to go across the country in any pin code today, shop on Amazon and get a 65, 75 or 85-inch television at your home in 2 to 3 days tops. It is also so much more easier to use your credit card to make that purchase. There's also a whole bunch of affordability options, anything from your credit card to finance schemes that make it easier to purchase something that earlier would have been a large barrier for somebody sitting at home to purchase. I think these are driving this kind of large screen sizes today.
And at one point in time, we used to say that not enough content is available to be, used as per its entire potential on 4K and full HD smart TVs, Devita. But that has also changed, and that is also really helping people make that choice to buy these high-end television, because certain content that wasn't originally as high definition earlier now is.
Interesting that when 4K took a long time in India to take off because people felt it wasn't worth it since the volume of content was less. Since the past 2 years, we've seen there's so much knowledge that people have of the content that we want. For example, last year at View, we tied up in California with this body called the Filmmakers Association. And we added a Filmmaker Mode to our televisions, which basically gives you the same picture quality that the director intended it. So, it removes all the filters and pictures. Now, this is something that we thought would be a very niche feature for a high-end customer who really cares about the picture quality that he's watching it in. But we actually found that en masse, people have become very demanding for the picture quality along with large sizes that they want on their TVs, which is why there's been growth in segments like ultra large size TVs, which is 85 inches and above, large size TVs, which is 55 inches and above, and also better picture technology like OLED, QLED, etc. So it's not only the paucity of content which was there earlier where the market slowed. Today, you have 4K and 8K content across the board. But the fact that consumers are asking and demanding for the best quality that they can get in their picture. I'd assume a lot of this comes because, when people are seeing it on their cell phones, it's very high-end quality, and they want the same cinema experience and the same clarity on their TVs. But the knowledge has become incredibly mass. It's not niche anymore to want this kind of experience.
Very interesting because we are a very price sensitive market. No matter what we are buying, it could be a very high-end luxury product, Ranjit, but when it actually comes to spending, we want maximum bang for the buck. How are the economies working out with these large TV sets? I know that once you enter a shop, there will be massive discounts that will be offered. Yes, you're getting a high-end television, but it comes with a big price tag. So in the consumer's mind, how do you reckon that, some kind of correlation happens between getting that bang for the buck for the kind of money that is being put out, which is quite substantial?
I don't think it's just affordability. There are two aspects. The first is choice. Customers in India love choice. Earlier, you could, in a small town, find it very difficult to get a television that was greater than 65 inches because stores have a space limitation. With e-commerce and folks like Amazon, that has changed dramatically today. Customers have access. And affordability, as I called out earlier, is much more easier when you try to shop on e-commerce. Amazon offers you the ability to use credit cards. It also allows you to have a whole bunch of EMI options, including facilities like Bajaj Finance. It makes it so much more easier to grab that 65-inch plus television today.
Devita, would you agree? Is it easier for consumers to make that decision, considering, to access these TV sets is becoming that much easier? So you're not just talking about your hubs, the Mumbais and Delhis of the country. There are enough people outside the metros who are spending that much more on entertainment and would like to invest in these kind of large TVs as well. So in terms of accessibility is one aspect of it. In terms of access to credit as well, that perhaps is changing the market.
I will be very biased to say this, but we launched a very successful QLED range on Amazon last year, and we sold over 9,000 units on their platform alone. And this was not a cheap TV. And together we're doing an even bigger launch this week. And we're very confident that the business is not going to come just from a Bombay or a Delhi. We've seen business come from every pocket of the country where people are finding it very easy to buy a high-end TV and then, of course, have it installed in their house. We ourselves have been shocked at the staggering numbers that large-size TVs are bringing on e-commerce. And I think this is the next wave where we see a lot of curated commerce in brands like View and Amazon, where we're reaching a more premium customer across India who may not be may not have access to a big city store, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have the lifestyle or the money to enjoy it at home. And the trust levels have really increased. So people don't mind spending 6 lakh rupees on buying a television online anymore. I think this is a very interesting trend because we don't just see it in Bombay, Delhi or any major city. It's the smallest places where our numbers are coming from, especially from the west and south of India.
But Ranjit, you would agree that in different parts of the country, the consumer is looking for different things in different consumer products. For someone who has that kind of pan-India presence, tell us about the variations that you find when it comes to TV sets and even large TV sets for that matter. There are different features that are available across the board. What are consumers looking for and where are the variations coming into play as well in terms of what they want in their TV sets?
So customers want large screen sizes, and increasingly we are seeing that they're also looking for 4K, QLEDs, OLEDs. Customers just want the highest quality that they can get their hands on. And like I called out earlier, we've suddenly opened up choice to customers across the country. You would earlier get 55, 65, 75-inch or OLED televisions in very, very few retail outlets in the small towns. Today, sitting anywhere in the country, you can have access to any screen size, any resolution that you want. I think that's what's making all the difference.
Are innovations, Devita, that you're doing at your end? And of course, we see the kind of price tags that the Samsungs and LGs are bringing to consumers. what are the differences that they bring to the table for the consumers? Because when you go into the shop, sometimes you see price drops in discounts which are quite substantial. So one would imagine that margins are quite high in the large TV sets business. Would you agree?
Definitely margins are better. But I will say this, that sometimes what brands do is just to create a show-off factor for a luxury customer. They tend to have a very artificially inflated price, and then they bring drastic discounts because they feel that's what works in the India market. I don't think that's going to be the trend anymore because prices are so transparent. So I would say that if, especially for us at View Televisions, the prices that we launch, there isn't much of a variation or a drop unless there's a specific festive or there's additional warranty, because people today honestly want more transparency and they want to save their time than hunting all over the place or even delaying their purchase hoping that the prices will drop. So I think it's wrong to cheat the high-end customer and make him pay 10 lakhs for something, and then just for like the marketing PR value it gives you, and then drop it down to 6. I think customers today are very smart. They want a brand that they know is going to bring the price and not move it around too much. So I can't speak for Samsung and LG and all the price tactics that they do, but definitely at View, I will say that someone who's spending 6 or 7 lakhs on a TV is certainly a very smart person, and your marketing tactics can't just be about price drops.
Ranjit, you did mention the point about choice, and choice is something that the Indian buyer always likes. When the choice comes to television sets, there are plenty, but also in terms of what can be consumed on those TV sets, that has grown multifold today. You're talking about films that are released, and this is all happening after the pandemic. A lot of things have changed in terms of the kind of content that is put out right now and is available as part of the entire entertainment package. What do you see as the correlation between what buyers are willing to spend on their TVs and the kind of choices that they make in the make that they get and the size that they get with the kind of content that they'd like to watch on these TV sets that they purchase?
Well, the pandemic changed things. I think that was really the trigger for customers wanting to bring the theater experience home. Post-pandemic, I think customers have made that choice.
Yes.
There are occasions where they choose to go to theaters, but like Devita called out, it's now available at home and so much more easier to watch. And with that, customers are now choosing to upgrade themselves. So if you are sitting at home and watching so much content in a day, you would want to watch it on the best screen and the best resolution that you can. And that's where customers are choosing brands like View or Samsung, LG or Sony and larger screen sizes. I also spoke about OLEDs, QLEDs, etc. Customers are, at least from what we see on Amazon, the numbers of those kind of televisions are going up dramatically in high 3-digit percentages plus.
Since we were talking about cities and how these TV sets are being used, Devita, you come from Mumbai and you'd probably relate to the problems that you have with space in the city. Considering that so many more people, irrespective of the kind of economic strata that they come from, they aspire for these large TV sets. But the kind of homes that we live in a city like Mumbai, they're too cramped to accommodate them. So how is that working out in terms of their choices?
The demo?
Sorry, what?
Do you want a demo?
A demo? You're going to show us how it works in a smaller space. Is that what it is?
This is my home.
Okay.
Okay, at Altamount Road. Apartments are not very big in Mumbai, as you said.
Yes.
And I'm just turning through. You can see that's my family, my brother. That's my 85-inch TV. I watch TV at this distance from when I have dinner, and it's actually really comfortable. So when people say, oh my God, it's such a big TV, how is it going to fit in your house? I just showed you, it just, all you need is a wall. And nowadays you don't even need a wall. You can just put an island setting. You can put the TV in the center, use it as a divider. The good thing is that the TV industry works very closely with the design industry.
Right.
So we're constantly working with people to see, how do you solve this problem with space?
Correct.
How do you just want to put it on a wall and make it easy to use? You know, people don't want to carve out, real estate is so expensive, I would say across India. They don't want to carve out like, 20, 30 square feet in like this, the biggest house at minimum to put this home theater experience. You have a wall, you can attach it. It's really not that hard. I think the good thing is the younger generation is very used to this because they use their TV not just for entertainment, they use it for music, they use it for their workouts, they use it for gaming. So I would say that large size TVs on any one of your four walls in your living room is extremely comfortable and easy. And I had to show it to you so that you know that all the talk that's been there for growth, it's because it's a technology that's time has come.
That's very helpful, and that's what I was hinting at in terms of innovation, because you showed us around. But of course, by that, by no means is a small space. It's not constricted, Devita, and you have much smaller spaces. But innovations is something that I was coming to as far as television sets go. Obviously, you need to bring that much more. When you go to buy a car today, you're looking at how many features the car packs in. A regular Hyundai will probably offer you much more for the same price that maybe another brand may not be able to pack in. And so it is with televisions as well. And that's exactly what consumers are looking for. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Are you trying to say that there are the more expensive it is, the more features that there are?
I'm asking.
Not necessarily. I will say this at some point that there are many features that a lot of brands charge for, which don't work in India or not India specific. And sometimes customers tend to waste money. You know,
that's
if, for
interesting.
example, buy a luxury
what kind of features, Devita?
I think, for example, there is a lot of like far field speakers. All this technology is very popular. I've seen in Far East that people don't care for in India. I'll give you an example, like some of these TVs when they make it like, I don't want to mention too many of my competitors as such, but they make it more for a dark environment, which is very popular abroad. And so they spend more on contrast, for example. But in India, it's very bright lit environments and need a different technology. So as long as you have the right features for the Indian high-end customer, you're giving them the right price. If you're picking up 20 features from across the world and he's barely going to use 2, he's going to lose his money. It's like saying putting cruise control in a luxury car, which is not going to work on an Indian road. So there are multiple features which are relevant for, say, watching in a European lighting environment or for content that's popular in a different country, which are maybe more heavier on DVB-T, which is terrestrial content, or even some kinds of gaming, etc. I would say that when a luxury brand makes something for a luxury customer in India, they're putting not less features, but they're putting relevant features. And that is what people are paying for. There's no point of paying for features that you're not going to use. You might as well buy like 2 TVs in that cost.
Yeah. So Ranjit, since I was asking you about the Indian consumption patterns, as far as the pandemic is concerned, we became that much more oriented towards family, and there was a sense of community, and we were doing things together. Perhaps that has lasted as well. Also, work from home has changed a lot of how we work with our TV screens, with our screens to start with, and perhaps the larger TV screen becomes that much easier. Has that also been factored into the kind of choices that people are making when it comes to buying TV sets?
Well, it certainly seems so, because it is not that the demand for televisions on Amazon or demand for large screen televisions have gone down since the pandemic.
We've
only
grown.
Seen it go up. We've only seen it go up. And Devita spoke about features.
Yes.
We're seeing the usage of our buying guides on Amazon go up dramatically. Customers are comparing more and more televisions, looking through feature sets point by point, making educated decisions. We see the number of reviews and ratings on Amazon go up significantly. So customers are a lot more engaged in buying their televisions today. I think they're a lot more knowledgeable about the purchase decision that they're making. And I think the features that Amazon provides kind of helps them make that choice.
Yes, indeed. A lot is changing within that industry. I mean, just poring over this report came as a bit of a surprise to many of us in our office as well, that so many more people, the one thing that they look for when it comes to making a purchase of a TV set is the size. That's the #1 criterion that they're looking at. And that's what many people who track that universe and are experts in the field as well, they'll ask you to make that decision. How large a TV set are you looking at? Because frankly, they say that's the true differentiator in today's context, and that is going to determine how much you want to spend. And the next question will be about the budget that you have for your TV set as well. So these are important changes, and perhaps it gives us a sense of consumption patterns in India. As far as different countries are concerned, like Devita pointed out, there are different needs, and India has certainly come to define what they are looking for in terms of the kind of products that they buy. Today, there are changes that are coming through, and we are here to track them on India Development Debate. Devita and Ranjit, many thanks for joining us with your perspective, and thank you all for joining us on this debate. Bye-bye.